What? We are back again. I don't know, these episodes are so much fun. I forget how many I've done, but it's always good stuff to talk about over here in Randyland, because this is the Main Street Randyland YouTube channel. I'm sure you've subscribed, right? Button. Well, while we're still up here in the special nook overlooking some of the things at Randyland, I wanted to show you a few more things because I know you love this stuff. Who doesn't love stuff? We all collect stuff, and don't let anybody tell you there's something wrong with collecting stuff, because stuff is what it's all about. Who has the most stuff wins the game, right? You gotta have the most stuff. Is anybody close to me? I'm the winner. Well, we're up here at a high position over at Randyland, and we're talking about some things that are over here. And I was leaning on my Happy Days jukebox. Oh my goodness, look, I found one of my mini DV tapes. I don't know what was on it even. It doesn't look like it's used. Maybe it was an extra tape, but it's sitting here. I must have been videoing something and I forgot. Someday I'll have to put it in and see if it works, see what's on there. So you tape stuff, you forget where the tapes go. I mean, I got piles of tapes in the Randy archives. This stuff is gold, mind you. And someday we'll get to go through that and maybe digitize them and getting them up on the channel also. But right now, we're over here by a nice I guess this is late 50s jukebox. It could be early 60s, but I'm not sure. I love the style, the round top where you can see the records inside and the mechanism moves back and forth. It's a Seeburg Select-O-Matic 100. And, you know, it's just the era when you had the great jukeboxes. You would pick your buttons, and this is a little more advanced than the ones I had because you would actually go by letter. This would be E1, so you'd have to push the E into 1, just like your diner boxes. Remember when they had the diner boxes? You go sit down at the table and they had the little jukebox on the side of the table and you put your money in, you'd play it. Well, it's the same type of selection key. This might actually work with a diner box because it works on the same selections. Typically, they had what's called hideaway units that were jukeboxes that you didn't see. They were just very plain, and they hid under a counter somewhere. Those are the ones you saw in diners that ran the diner boxes, but they could also run it off of a regular jukebox. Depends on the model, but Seeburg was great for it. As you look beyond, you see goodies of all kinds. You know, the first thing I spot, people won't even notice. I spot these metal pretzel machines here. There are 4 of them there. Those are pretzel conveyor belt bakers. When you get the soft pretzels on the boardwalk, that's how they're made. That chain on the grill rotates very slowly, and it takes your pretzel through the heat and bakes the pretzel. When it comes out on the other side, it's done. These worked on electric, and the heat was only on or off. The degree of baking was done by the quickness and the speed of the conveyor belt. So if you wanted to bake your pretzels more, you slowed down your belt. If you wanted to underbake them, you made your belt move faster. And there's 4 of them there. I mean, each one of those ovens would cost a fortune for your operation, but you had to have one. So, I mean, if you have one, you should have a backup. So I have 4, and I'm sure there's more hiding over there by the ice cream stand. But also, what's next to them? More Suida cash registers from Walt Disney World in Florida. And they're sitting, of course, on top of video games. Here's a pair of Galaxians. On the other side, we have, oh, what is that? Is that a Zaxxon? And on this side, I can't even read it. Oh, I can't. A Ring King. That's a Ring King. It might have been a conversion into a Zaxxon cabinet because it looks the same. But these are video games. They're standing on top of air hockey machines, so they're up in the height. And who's next to him? Who's this guy in the white suit? He's one of the characters from the Imagination Pavilion over with Figment at Walt Disney World. He's wearing his lab coat. So there's 3 lab guys over there from the Imagination Institute, and if behind them would be Randy in his coat. What's next to him? Gumby. Who's down there? Pokey. You remember Gumby and Pokey. Everybody loved Gumby and Pokey. And of course, you have your Whirlybird ride. I rode that ride when I was a kid. Over on the side here, you have tapestries, which are limited editions from the Haunted Mansion at Walt Disney World. Now, these are not full size. These are not park used. These were made for collectors. They were limited edition to production. They have bat wing on each side of the curtain rod that holds them. And if you remember the stretching room, you would see only the top of the man. And then as the room stretched up, it would expose the rest of the figure. And there's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. They go all the way down. Of course, I have all 4 versions. Who wouldn't? And they're kind of hiding behind these guys who are in my mother's crib. Yes, that's Mom's crib back from the day when she was a little girl. And those are made of steel, not wood. Back in the day, they made things right. So if you saved it, you still got your crib forever and ever and ever. And up in the top hiding there, those are food signs from, can you guess? The Nut Hut. In the back, they had a deli. Those are Main Street signs. They're called Main Street because that was the name of the type of advertising sign they were. And they have interchangeable faces. You could put in a picture. You could put in letters or tell what the story is. And it's, you know, it's all about what you see and what you understand the values to be. As we pan over this way, we have spotlights. Look at that. It's a follow spot. This one is only a single color follow spot. It doesn't have the multiple gels. You can get into your bulb on the top here. You can pan. And this spotlight goes along with this other spotlight. This one's a little larger, but this one has your gels that you can change the color. That would be for white. This would be for green. If I want to give an orange tint, blue, yellow, red. That's probably, I would say, dark. But, you know, you could release them like that and set them back. Typically, they could change the color gels in these. Sometimes they don't even have them in there if they didn't use them. What do we got in here? Yep, here's a yellow gel. You see it's yellow. It would come up, and it would simply block the light going through to the lens, so it would get a yellow tint. If I brought up a blue one, look at that. That's nice blue. What was that dark one? See? It's a solid black. It's metal. This is not a gel. This is metal. This is to turn off the light without turning off the bulb. So I turn it black. This one here is just a cream. Give it a little bit of a yellow color to it. The green one, the orange one, the blue one, the yellow one, the red one. Clear them all. Beautiful piece of unit. This is for focus. You can actually move this back and forth. It's difficult to do not on a stand because I don't want to force it. But this would slide, this unit here, in and out to go with this lens so that you could make the beam more centered and precise on somebody. There's also a part in the back. I might be able to turn it here so you can see. Can you see in here? Just like the iris diaphragm inside a camera that makes the light smaller or larger as far as you want to do. And of course you have your major bulb in the back. I don't have a bulb in there because they break when you move them, but it would slide into there. It's a very high intensity bulb. It would go into the lens and go into the back. So why are they up here? They're here for the Randy show. So they can spotlight down at the Randy show and, you know, do their thing. It's an animated show, of course, and all the figures are behind it. I have the Randy standing there. We have our stage lights above it, and they're all coordinated to go along with the show. So this is just part of the experience. It's part of the stuff that goes into it. Nothing is simple. People walk in, they just see something. They don't realize the amount of effort, the amount of work that it takes to do anything if you're going to do it right. And if you're going to do it, you got to have the equipment to do it. So you collect this stuff, you save this stuff. I mean, even here, these are portable seats. See that? This is all on a master base. There's 4 seats here. There's more of them. I know there are. They're around here somewhere. But it's from a race game. You would sit down and you would roll the balls with the race game from one of the Boardwalk Midway games. So everything has its place. Everything has a reason for being here. There's pinball heads behind the mannequins here. These are whack-a-moles in front of them. Cop lights from cop cars on the top here. They're great for effects. They pull a lot of power, halogen bulbs. Here's a light bar over on this side. This would be on the top of one of your vehicles. This is a big one. So this looks like it would be a fire truck. This is a really, really big one. You have all your colors on it. And typically you can control what color you want to use. You could use all the whites. You could use the blues. You could use the reds. You could use Christmas tree. It all goes along with it. I mean, these things are not $10. They're not hundreds of dollars. They're a lot of money. So is a lot of time, effort, money all invested. This is a lifetime of collecting, which is why I'm the hoarder of amusement park memorabilia and arcade machines. So now you understand a little better that hoarding is not a bad thing. People say, oh, you're a hoarder. I know people who collect games and collect stuff, and they oh, you're a hoarder. You're not a hoarder. They see value in stuff, and I don't care if you collect junk. It's not junk to you. That's why you saved it. You saw value in it. It has memory to it. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't let anybody tell you that you should get rid of your stuff, because your stuff is part of who you are, the history of your life as you accumulated stuff. Someday when you're not around, maybe the story of your life will be told through your stuff. I know it'll be told through my stuff at Randyland if we ever get it open to the public. Meanwhile, we do the best we can right here on the Main Street Randyland YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time as we bring more wonderful stuff to your delight. See you next time, guys. Bye-bye.